Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Not the Girl Next Door. I'm your host, Meg Reynolds, and in honor of Suicide Prevention Month, you guys know I talk a lot about mental health, my personal mental health journey on this podcast. So today's guest, it felt right to bring on because he is another friend from the internet, of course. Where else do we make friends nowadays? And he talks a lot about mental health on his page, specifically his own mental health journey. And obviously, I can't speak on men's mental health. I am a woman, but he can. So I thought it was very appropriate to bring him on the podcast. And also, so him and I finally have a chance to yap face to face. But without further ado, this is Jacob Northrop, or as you may know him, Jakey Films. If you follow him on Instagram, he's also a photographer. But I will let him do the rest of the introduction. So Jacob, welcome to Not the Girl Next Door.
Thank you for having me. We've been trying to land this podcast for weeks or months. I don't know, like a year. I don't know. And so it feels good to be here. I'm trying to balance between the cameras and I'm like, okay, who do I look at? No, I'm just happy to be here. I think there's a lot of good things that you're pushing out with your content, specifically focused on the women's side. And so I feel honored to be talking about the men's side because we know that there's some issues that we need to talk about. Okay. So yes. Happy to be here.
This is the only man I want to willingly hand a microphone to, guys. Like most men I don't trust.
Try not to mess it up.
You're still a man. So we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I'm willingly giving you a podcast microphone. That says a lot in today's day and age. So
amazing. That's what's the saying? It's like podcast equipment needs to be more expensive. And so,
I get told that
I'm honored.
I get told that daily in my DMs that I should not have a microphone. And I'm like, you're right. Who the fuck am I? I am just a girl who bought a microphone and decided to yap on the internet, and almost 4 years later, here we are, still yapping on the internet. So people seem to like it.
We're here. We're doing it. I don't know why I do it either, but here we are.
It's therapeutic. There are a lot of darks and downsides to social media, but I think, social media, one of the beauties of it is it's given people a voice and community that they may not have otherwise had. I mean, literally our paths would have never crossed otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, since I started TikTok, the amount of friends that I've created just globally even that I just would have never had access to is kind of crazy. I mean, your world really expands, sometimes in a bad way. I would say maybe there's certain cases where, the dating pool's too big.
Don't I fucking know it?
And that's a whole other topic that we can get into. But I think when it comes to friendship side of it, that the internet's a beautiful place. And it can be. It can be dangerous. And we can be in a situation where there's a lot of, hate or whatever it may be. But for the most part, it's all love, especially TikTok, right? We all know Instagram has haters. TikTok has lovers, friends, community.
You and I became friends because I had found your page from a video you posted. It was January. It was actually one of the first podcast episodes I did this season. And the journal prompt that you did was something like, oh my God, I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with yourself and talking about the ways you present yourself. I don't know if you remember which one it was I DM'd you about. Yeah. What was it? Do you remember?
It was, is the version of yourself that's present today because of the choices that you've made to be that person? Or is it just the default setting that you just haven't healed from? It's just the version of yourself that you just became naturally. Or did you purposely become the person that you are today?
Yes. And I remember that really struck me because one, it was coming out of a man's mouth. I was like, men think like this? Hello? Two, it really struck with me because that's the whole point of this podcast is this podcast has been my journey of healing and becoming this authentic version of myself and figuring out what the fuck that even means and who I am. And I've answered some of those questions, but I'm still largely on that journey, gonna be on that journey for the rest of my life. But I remember DMing you being like, hey, can I share this on my podcast? This is so insightful. And you're like, hell yeah. We just kind of stayed in touch from then. But you, this year, you're one of the people that's helped me be like, no, I can get back into journaling. Because I think And tell me if you feel like this too on your mental health journey. There's like a gap in my journals from about 2018 up until this year. And part of me wishes I kept journaling because I would love to see like my thought process of all the things that I was dealing with. But I also think part of me stopped journaling as a way to hide and run from everything I was dealing with and like not hold myself accountable and like not truly face like the reality of my parents' divorce and like the man my father is. And then also like that toxic relationship that I was in and like the breakup I eventually went through, like running from all of these things and like hiding from the parts of myself because like, even if I'm writing the thoughts down, so I can lie to myself all day long. But I just
I've lied to myself through journaling.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm trying to be better about that in my own journaling now. Is like stop lying. Like I found myself too this year only writing happy, positive journal entries, which is great. I want to look back on these memories, but like there are moments where I'm like, I should be journaling about this and like this pain or these confusing thoughts. Like I need to get better at not like being over positive or over negative in the journaling. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, I think being able to communicate authentically with wherever you're at on paper, or for me, it's through my keyboard. I find that writing through I just sit down with my computer and I'm a lot better. I've gotten a little bit lazy with my handwriting. I always feel like whenever I journal like with paper, it always starts off so good. And then like 2 pages in, it looks like chicken scratch. I mean, I'm just,
mine is complete and utter chicken scratch, but there's something
no one would be able to go back and read it. That's for sure.
No, I can only read my handwriting, which means like it's very protected and like secret, but
it is kind of like Morse code. Yeah. It's a secret code.
Right. I'll look at some of my old journals. I'm like, what the fuck was I trying to say here? Like, but I think it just shows it kind of helps with the emotion of it. It's like, you can really see it. You can see the emotion in your handwriting and your penmanship too. And like, I don't know, maybe that's me being a weird artsy human, but like, I personally have always just loved handwriting things.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I should be better. This is my sign that I need to be better about handwriting my journaling. But regardless, the art of journaling is something that I've taken up pretty seriously over the years in waves. There are definitely seasons where I don't journal as much, but I think that it's just a practice that I've seen in my life where I can kind of take a breath and release a few things. I think my number one issue and something that we're going to get into today is the classic story of the man, right? Where we don't know how to open up. We don't know how to express our feelings. And then all of a sudden someone's like, hey man, you should write down your feelings. And all of a sudden you're like, or go to counseling for the first time and you experience the same thoughts that like girls did 10 years ago. And you're like, I've developed empathy and I've developed compassion. And they're like, yeah, like we know you just needed to get some of that stuff out. And so, I feel like it really started coming out whenever I realized that I needed a place to vent and I wasn't comfortable doing it with people yet. And it just turned into more sense.
So you did it on the internet. That's even better.
Oh God. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic TikTok kind of became like a journaling thing for me. Like it was like a platform for me to, I don't know, vent, be weird.
Like you don't expect anybody to actually see it at first. Like you don't.
Oh my God. No.
It's like you don't take it seriously until it's serious.
When I started realizing that people were watching, I still have moments. Some of you might see this where someone will be like, dude, I saw your TikTok the other day. And I like lock up. I'm just like, like if my group of people that I'm talking about see this, I was with them the other day and it was a table that I really respect and like bosses and wives of bosses and all that. And they're like, we love your TikToks, keep making them. And I was just like, do you watch my TikToks? I don't know how to feel about this. And they're like, no, seriously, we love it. We love it. Like we want you to keep doing that. So it just goes to show that I think my lesson through this is that the more authentic you present yourself in the world, online, in relationships, it's going to eat you alive at first. You're going to feel very insecure about it, but in turn, you're going to realize that so many more people are taking you authentically and valuing who you are because you're showing up and like you're just being yourself versus like this idea of who you are. You don't actually express yourself. So when I started expressing myself, my thoughts, my opinions, I was deeply terrified. But then it became one of those things that people were like, hey, I really value you. And I was like, oh my God, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how do you think, I did an episode on this where I talked about like, well, what is it? Like everyone says like, be authentically yourself. And it's like, well, what does that actually mean? Right. Especially when you don't know yourself. And like, so what do you think are some things that you have done and learned that kind of helped you figure out, okay, when am I being performative and when am I being this like version of myself that I want others to see versus like, no, this is just who I am and I'm just being myself. Because I think it is so easy. I think everyone gets to a point in their healing journey where they think they're being themselves and they're still performing in some way. I know I've dealt with this.
Oh, I'm the worst. I think that
I mean, you're a man.
Most of the time. And I don't know if you know anything about the Enneagram, but I'm a 3 through and through. And so I'm just a performer. Like that whole like platform of the 3 is like, I love performance. I love competition. My strengths finders, competition and significance are number 1 and 2 on my strength finder. So I love performing, but it has a downside. And TikTok has been really interesting because I've had weeks or even months where it felt like everything that I posted was performative. That's the word that I've used in the past. And then I kind of get the ick towards myself where I'm like, I don't like what I just did. And so I have to kind of reel it back and be like, okay, who am I? What's this platform for? But anyway, I kind of went on a tangent and now I don't know what we were talking about.
Being performative in your content and like how you learned to decipher what's truly yourself versus.
Oh, okay. Trial and error. That's it. You just have to start posting. I think that without,
not even just with TikTok, but like just like in your daily, like you as a human being.
Yeah, you have to try on things. You have to try new things. You have to experiment with an idea of yourself and put yourself out there. And then only through that can you kind of wake up to this reality that's like, okay, I tried this fantasy version of me. I tried to put it to practice, and it turns out that that's not very authentic to who I am.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Now I'm going to move forward and try on this next version of myself and see if it feels authentic or not. And then that's the experiment, I think, through our 20s and 30s. And I think I'm hopeful that by your 40s and 50s, you kind of land on this version of yourself that you're like, hey, I've tried on a lot of different hats. And now here I am, and I like this version. It feels authentic to who I am. But I think it's just trial and error.
Do you think, because I think too, obviously I'm 26 now, and I'm at a weird point in my life where like, if you asked my past self where she would be married, maybe pregnant with her first kid, not on a tour bus. Like I wouldn't be living on a tour bus. And I've had to reconcile and in a sense grieve that life I thought I wanted for so long. But part of my journey has been realizing like, okay, is this what I ever truly wanted? Or is this just how I was raised to think life goes? And I kind of realized like, I don't know if I ever actually wanted it for me, because it truly felt right to me. And like, it is a grief. And I look around at the people who I know who are, they're getting engaged now. Some people are pregnant and like, I love that path for them. And there is a part of me that almost like grieves and gets sad because I still yearn for those things, but I know it's not my time yet. And also I look at like the men I've been with, I'm like, would any of them have been a good husband or a good father? No. Like, and it's just, and I'm sure you probably feel like this too, because you come from small town Arkansas. Like probably a lot of people settle down and get married young, and you yourself were married at one point. So it's like, how do you, the lore is crazy, but it's like, so how do you kind of, from a man's perspective, like, do men deal with those kind of like grief thoughts as well when it comes to life and expectations and things like that? Because as women, I talk about it so much with my friends, but with men, it's very different.
I think that the universal denominator for men and women is that we all have this idealized version of life that happens when we're young, whether it's through indoctrination or natural, that is really difficult to let go of. Mm-hmm. For me, I had a lot of dreams as a kid that just never panned out. I mean, dreams that were fun, right? Like professional athlete, astronaut, I don't know. The list just goes on of all the typical stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then you wake up and you don't have those things, or you didn't pursue those things, and it's really hard. I mean, it's really difficult. And I think a lot of people go through a little bit of like crisis through realizing that I am not who I thought I was going to be. I don't have the life that I thought I wanted. And I don't know how to reconcile with this type of grief, because it's not grief of like something happened right in front of your face. Like someone died and that's immediate grief. You lost your job, immediate grief. Like something really bad happens, immediate grief. And that is something that I think our normal teachings in our brain can handle that in a very practical manner. But then you talk about something of like losing your dream, losing this ideal life that you had planned out. And it's just kind of like I don't know what to do, because part of me thinks it's still attainable and possible. And then the other part of me is like, do I let go? Do I move on? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to deal with this. So the answer to that is yes, we all deal with that problem across the board. But I think the man side of it is, oh gosh, it's definitely not marriage and kids. I don't think that's like, I think for some men, yes. But for a lot of women, I know that I've heard your stories and the stories of people that you've had on this, of like thinking about the marriage and the kids and the white picket fence family. And that's like,
I mean, my wedding has been planned since like I was fucking 12 years old. And like my bridesmaids have been picked, but they've changed over the years, of course, as I've gained and lost friends. But like, you can see it in your mind, but then the groom's face is just like really blurry, and it's just crazy to see that. But yes, men, it's a little different.
It's different, but I think it's all the same. I think at the foundational level, it's just the posture of having this perfect image of who am I going to be? Mm-hmm. What am I going to be? And then realizing that like we just come to here. We don't feel like that gap feels too big to cross sometimes. And then we start asking ourselves, is it even worth crossing over to that is it even worth the effort anymore? And a lot of people are like, no, it's not worth it. Or what happens is you adjust, and then your dreams become different, and you realize like, what was I chasing in the first place? Like that, who taught me that was the best idea? That happened to me. Yeah, I think that is a very common practice, where for me, it was in my young 20s. I was under the impression that, okay, a little bit of backstory about me. I was in Bible college, worked at the church. I was in ministry, which is hilarious if you know me now. Completely different life. So that was part of my experience in my young 20s. And then I met a girl. We were both working in the church. And I mean, the Bible is pretty clear about what is the perfect marriage? What's the perfect situation? And so was I ready? No.
And how old were you when you got married? Remind me.
22. Oh, dear Lord. Turning 23. Somewhere like right in there. Way too young. But everyone convinced me that the right thing was that life. It was marriage. It was kids. It was God's going to take care of all your problems, and like, just be okay. Like, your fears are normal, and just move forward with it. It's going to be fine. And I convinced myself that that's a good life, that that's the life that I wanted, that like, and Turns out it wasn't. And I made a lot of bad decisions through that process, and it was really hard. And I hurt a lot of people through it because I didn't do the work beforehand to heal and to actually like take time to do the right things. I think it all goes back to if you're doing things because people tell you that it's the right thing to do, or society tells you it's the right thing to do, it may still be the right thing, just not right now. And maybe not for you in that moment. Mm-hmm. And so I had to go through a really hard learning curve after that of being like, okay, that was a failed marriage and that was a divorce. And how do I reconcile? How do I move forward? Do I still want the same dreams? Do I want to go a different route? And I'm still figuring that out.
One of the first things I learned in therapy, talking with my therapist, was how your 20s, like every TV show, every movie paints them as like this like magical, fun time. But like they're actually like, they're supposed to be the hardest years of our lives because like,
yes,
not only are we thrust into adulthood and we have bills now, we have health insurance now, but like they really are the most grief-filled years of our lives. Like we're mourning the loss of our youth. We're mourning the loss of our like freedom in a way, even though we're more free now in certain regards, but the carefreeness, you know, some of us are going to experience loss of some form for the first time. We're going to get layoff for the first time. We're grieving friendships, relationships, you know, the lives we thought we wanted. And it's, you know, really, when my therapist put it like that, it made me feel a lot less alone in figuring it out. And, you know, I was the odd one that left New York. People always think I'm crazy that I left New York. And I'm like, it just wasn't, it's a great city, not for me. Like, it just doesn't fit me. And I'll never forget last year for my birthday, one of my best friends from college finally got to visit. And she lives in Manhattan now. She has a condo on the Upper West Side. I love her to death. She got to visit me for the first time. And she was like, as selfishly as I want you to move home because I miss having you around, she was like, I see how well this city fits you. And I see how much of a good life you've built here. And like, that was so validating for me to hear of like, see, you get it. Like, I miss you guys, but if I moved home, I wouldn't be able to be this version of me. And
oh my gosh,
it literally like been my best friend since freshman year of college, which funny enough, I didn't like her at first. I thought she was a bitch. It's like the running joke of our friendship now is like, I really thought she was a bitch the first time I met her. And she was like, you hated me for no reason. I was like, cause you were on the dance team and you had the fucking dance team backpack. And I thought you were like stuck up.
Yeah.
I judged the book by its cover.
Okay. Yeah. Have we learned from this experience?
Yes, we have. All right. We ended up in the same sorority. And I remember on bid day being like, fuck, I'm going to hate it here. This bitch is here.
You were a sorority girl?
Yeah. I was vice president.
Whoa.
I was vice vice president of my sorority, guys.
Big time. She's big time. Okay?
I cared way too much about that shit. But you know what it was? Is like, I think me caring so much about like the sorority life and being vice president, all these things is because I was still that like wounded person who like for once in her life just like wanted to feel accepted and wanted to feel chosen. And like, that's how I did it, is like pouring everything into a sorority. And I didn't have siblings growing up. So I always wanted sisters and
yeah.
Why do I not strike 100%. You as a sorority girl? Is that surprising?
I don't know. I just don't know. I think I have a bad read on who sorority girls are. I don't know. I didn't go to normal college, okay? I don't know anything about Greek
That's true.
life.
Were you homeschooled?
I just always judged them. No. You know why I didn't go Greek life? And you know why I didn't do that?
Do Bible colleges have Greek life? I'm very confused.
Do you know why I went to Bible college? No, because I was such a party kid in high school.
Really?
That I needed straightening out.
You needed Jesus.
So I didn't grow up religious at all.
Neither did I.
And so then high school happens and I go down a crazy path. I just have a lot of fun, a lot of partying. And then my senior year, this girl invites me to Bible camp and I'm like, okay, all right. So I go to Bible camp. I find Jesus. And then decide I'm going to give everything to this lifestyle. And so I was going to go to college and I realized I don't think I can do both. I don't think that I can be this Christian guy that I think I want to be and go to normal college. I think the party life's going to get me. So I gave that up, went to Bible college. It was good in theory. it was bad in practice. And it probably caused more damage than good, but it is what it is now. And I'm unlearning a lot of that. Deconstructing my faith has been so difficult.
I mean, I feel like you and I are almost on like, not like parallel journeys, because like you're deconstructing, but I'm just getting into Christianity. But it's like,
yeah,
I literally was having this conversation with a friend this morning, and I was talking to him about it. And I was like, the more I get into faith, the angrier I'm getting at the way of the world currently, and like the way people are using the Bible. And like, I got a lot of heat saying this on the podcast once, but I was like, if you need the Bible to tell you how to be a good person, then you're not actually a good person. Like, like I just kind of realized over the years, like, I don't think I'm this like martyr, perfect Christian or anything, but like, I just realized there were a lot of ways over the years in which like I was being, a good Christian, and I didn't even mean to be. And I remember there were a couple of years in high school that I was going consistently to like a church camp, I guess you could say, over the summer with a friend. She's always been very religious. And then I don't think I ever talked about this on the podcast before, like my interruption in faith. So from like 14 to 16, I was consistently with one of my friends in high school going to her church. Like, I think it was like a church camp or something. I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. It was like a teen Bible study. I don't really remember, but like, I remember I stopped going after my assault in high school by my boyfriend. And after that, I never looked back. And I don't know, I stopped a lot of things after that. I stopped doing martial arts after that because I felt like I failed protecting myself. Like I said, stopped doing the church thing and like just kind of distanced myself from it all. But now that I'm finding it again, it's making me, again, sad for my younger self who didn't feel like connected to it, but also, again, angry at the ways in which it's being perverse. Like, because again, I see a guy call himself a good Christian man. I'm like, I want nothing to do with you because I can't trust. Immediate distrust. And that's really fucking sad that is my initial gut reaction. And I know so many women, that's their gut reaction, that the second a man says he's religious, I'm like, even though I am, and I would love someone to come to church with me, but not when it's your entire identity. And that's the thing, is I think too many people nowadays make it their entire identity and they wear it as a shield instead of actually understanding and practicing and having the true empathy. Like, we just lack empathy now.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I want to reword through, maybe I said it, we said it, but I think Christianity is a good identity to have. I think that even through my experience of understanding the Bible, understanding what it is, it does call you to put on the faith and to wear it, like to actually, like if you're going to be a Christian and like own it, be it. But the problem is that a lot of people don't understand what that means. They think Christianity looks a certain way because where they were born, how they were raised, and what it looked like in that context. Mm-hmm. But in reality, we've had it wrong for so long in America that now we're producing these Christians that everyone's being hurt by, but they're not actually Christians. Like they don't look like Jesus, not in any means, any shape, any facet. And so now we're getting a lot of people that are like, I don't want anything to do with Christianity, but it's really, they don't want anything to do with American Christianity. And they're getting hurt by that. And then in turn, turning from God. I'm one of those people. I know that I have a little bit of a deconstruction to do in order to reconstruct. If I will go down that road, I'm not 100% sure yet. But I do know that when people say like they have an immediate perversion to Christianity, or men that say that they are Christian, a lot of times I know immediately that it's because of some guy or multiple guys that had the label of Christianity, but they weren't Christian at all. And so I think there's times that I lived like that as well. And I have to grieve that version of myself. And I've made my apologies to those people, but it's a scary thing. It's difficult. It's so difficult. Why is it so hard? That's my number one question. When I get to, well, I don't know where I'm going, but when I get there, I'm gonna be like, what the heck, man? Why was this so hard? Like, what were you thinking, bro?
I'm hot take. I'm not going to say I love, that's the wrong wording, but like,
I'm so curious where you're going with this right now. I don't
lately I've had this newfound appreciation, I think, for all the, I don't even want to say I appreciate it, but like, I guess in a weird way I do like have an appreciation for like the trauma and like the hardships I've been through, because I am so much more present in my life now because of it. Like, I think too many people, like I've seen it so many times where, you know, people can't handle hardship, but two, they don't truly understand the like, I hate to be like the blessings, but like the good in their lives currently, because they've never had to know life without it. And so like all of the things that my younger self had to go through to get to be the woman I am today, it's like I am the person I am because of her and because of those things. So it's like I've have this weird appreciation for it now because I love who I am and I love my life and I'm very proud of what I've been able to build for myself. But I wouldn't have been able to do it without those experiences and those traumas and that younger version of myself, who at some point she did want to die. And like, I'm very proud of her for coming out of it. And like, I don't know. It's like I've been like very weird and nostalgic lately. I don't know if it's because I'm turning 27 this year and I'm like, oh my God, my late 20s, what's happening? But I have this, like I said, this like appreciation and like this forgiveness for her for putting herself in those situations. And like, you know, I had a guest on last week and she said this, but she was like, self-care isn't just about, self-love isn't just about, you know, loving yourself. It's like loving the worst parts of yourself that you've been conditioned to hate. And I did a whole episode on this, just talking about how in order to really heal, like you do have to reconcile with those versions of yourself that you feel like were fucked up and made mistakes, and like learn to forgive and love them too and honor them too. And like, I don't know, it's very complicated. Like, does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Oh yeah. There's a quote by Edgar Allan Poe, actually, and I'm going to botch it, I think, but it's basically, show me the ugliest versions of yourself and let me love you through it. And for me, when I read that, or a version of, I paraphrase probably, but when I read that, I remember seeing that and being like, this is everything. Like this is healing. This is life. This is spirituality. This is all of these things combined. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like, this is what I look for in relationships. This is what I look for in myself. And in therapy, like this is what you learn. If you can't show me the ugly parts, you can't receive love. Mm-hmm. And for me, I didn't let anyone see the ugly parts. I tried not even to let my ex-wife see the ugly parts, but like eventually it always comes out, right?
And it comes out worse oftentimes.
Way worse, in the most toxic forms, in the worst ways it comes out. Like if I would have just let her in or let these people in through my past that wanted to help, mm-hmm. I don't think that I would have made a lot of the bad decisions I made, but I think that I just got so desperate because of my pain that I just went to the worst extremes ever. And it's like, if you would have just brought this back a little bit and let people love you through the darkness, like in the darkness, in the pain, like that's where I think everything changes and your life just completely reveals itself to you.
I feel like I see this a lot in dating where, you know, I'm a very anxiously attached person. So of course I go for avoidant men, tale as old as time. But I see that time and time again where there are these guys, like they'll open up and then they clam right back up. The thing I've realized about love is like, yes, it's a feeling, but it's also a choice. Like it's like choosing to love somebody in all of their ugliest forms is a rare and beautiful thing. And I'm not saying for people to like stay in toxic, abusive situations. That's not what I'm saying here at all. But like actual long lasting love, it's because they've chosen to still stay with that person. They have seen them crashing out, being crazy, doing whatever. And they're saying, no, but I still love you. And that is, I think, something we all look for because everyone wants love. I think love is one of the most sought after things in this world, but it's a complicated emotion. And I think a lot of people think they're ready for love, but they aren't and are not willing to do the things that they need to do in order to get ready.
I think people are ready for relationships, but they don't know what it takes because of what they were brought up in.
Right.
And so I think with divorce as common as it is today, one thing I am worried about with the next generation is them seeing divorce as so common practice that it's no longer like we're slowly losing the real definition of love, and we're just slowly replacing it with the idea of like fascination or idolatry or infatuation. And we're just creating these people that are basing their entire love life around, am I currently attracted to this person? Am I currently invested in this person?
Mm-hmm.
And if that ever changes, then it's cool. Like, we'll just move forward. And I just think that one of my greatest questions is, in 50 years, is marriage going to be a thing? And like in 100 years, is it going to be a thing? And like, is it just going to become less and less common practice because people are going to start realizing that long-term love is really difficult, and I don't want to sign up for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, it's it's got to be the hardest thing in our life.
Yeah.
Learning how to love well, learning how to love someone really good is definitely, I think, the hardest thing that we're going to go through.
Oh,
like absolutely. Grief is hard, absolutely, but grief is love. Like all these things are just subcategories.
Grief is a form of love. Like grief absolutely is a form of love, because in order to grieve something, it means you had to have loved it, you had to have cared about it. Like that
and
is.
As someone who, part of my story is I shut down all emotions growing up. And I just decided I'm not going to love anything. I played the too cool for school crowd. And I was just, I don't know. I didn't like really invest in love. And then recently I found myself loving things again through a lot of work, right? But then whenever I lost said things, whether it was people, things, relationships, whatever it was, I started grieving again. And I was just like, oh my God, this is a lot. I don't know how to handle this. But it's equally, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And now I know that I do want to live with love and loss, and not just this numb state. The numb state is way worse.
You can't have one without the other. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong too, is like, they're too afraid to feel the pain. And it's like, again, this is what kind of going back to what I said earlier, is like, I have a newfound appreciation for my pain, because it means like I love things and people. And like, I am one of those people that I'm polar opposite of you. I have always felt so deeply. And like, when I feel emotion, I feel it with my full heart. Like some would argue I feel in love too much. And you know what? If that's my fatal flaw, sue me. But like, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I've always thought very deeply. I always feel very deeply. It's why I write so deeply. And like, I just, it makes me sad for people who miss out on those joys in life because they don't know what they're missing. And like, again, to come out on the other side of pain, I think is, and then you do have that appreciation, and it's a beautiful thing.
I want to segue this really fast, because this is the topic that we talked about earlier with male loneliness epidemic.
Yes, the male loneliness epidemic. One of my favorite topics, and I get yelled at on the internet about it all the damn time.
I think the misconception here that I want to, the segue is that men growing up don't have that depth of emotion, and they don't feel like you said, you're like, I'm the complete opposite of you. And I think the part that I left out of my story is that the reason I was so numb is because as a child, I didn't have the outlets to be vulnerable. I didn't have men in my life telling me it was cool to express emotions. And so I became very numb at a really young age, because I love my father to death. And like, I absolutely adore this man. But the one thing that he didn't teach me well is how to be an emotional man, and how to be okay with emotions. So I shut those down. And then now here I am in my late 20s, unpacking that, relearning how to be emotional. And so, here's where I was going with that. I almost got sidetracked, but I didn't. Men are struggling because they got shut down at a young age, and they've never come back since then.
Yes. No, I know that firsthand. Like, my dad is a cautionary tale, like, if men don't choose to heal now. And like, I think I was talking actually with one of my guy friends about this last night, and he was saying the same thing to you, like, men are told we can't be emotional. And I said to him, I was like, that is true. I will fully agree with you there. And even women nowadays, they're like, I don't want to date a man if he cries in front of me. I don't agree with that, and I don't think it's right. But anyways, I was like, at what point though, like, is it no longer acceptable to continue to blame your parents, society for those failings? Like, at what grown age are you responsible for yourself in saying like, yes, this is what I was raised with, and yes, this is what I was taught, but at the end of the day, I am now responsible for myself, my actions, and my feelings. And I think that's the thing a lot of men are failing to answer is, yeah, you're grown age, buddy. Like you've got to do the work now.
Yeah, I wish that there was like a magical number that it's like, hey, if you're let's just call it 18, 21, 25, 30, that it was like, okay, now you got to start dealing with your stuff. But I think the reality is that
maybe it's the age you have to get health insurance at 26.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll call it 26. No, I think it's the day that you realize that your life is in your hands. Mm-hmm. And for some, I think that happens really early, and for some, it happens a lot later.
What was the moment for you that you decided and realized like, I need to work on this. Like, I need to take charge here.
Okay, two. I'll wrap it into one. My divorce. My divorce was my crux, I would say, of when I realized that my life is falling apart and my mental health had plummeted, and I was blaming my parents and their divorce still. I was blaming my circumstances. I was blaming the church. I was blaming God. I was blaming my ex. I mean, I blamed everyone except myself. Mm-hmm. And when I got through that divorce, I remember I had a moment where I was like, if I don't make decisions to change, then like, I think that I'm just going to repeat this cycle. To summarize, I didn't change right then. I had a really grand idea of like, my life's going to be so different. I'm going to be like all these things. It didn't work like that. In fact, I went down the party stage again, and then found myself in another relationship. That one ended, and then I would say I really was like, okay, let's pause. Let's like reset. Let's get all this figured out.
And how long ago was that?
That was about 1.5 years ago.
Oh, so we're recent. This is recently. You know what, though? Like I will say you wouldn't, like from your social media, you wouldn't know that. Like you would think you've been on this journey for a long time, the way you speak and act.
Well, and that's the hard part. It's because I have. Since I was in Bible college, I remember like learning the language, like learning what to say and how to say it and how to be eloquent in my speech and how to do things in that world. And then it was just sporadic for the next decade. For the next 10 years, it has been like a little bit of healing there, a little bit of loss there, a little bit of healing here, a little bit, and like just kind of ebb and flow through it. And then now here I am. And I would say I've spent the last 1.5 years hammering down. So I spent about 3 or 4 months after that relationship ended, just me. Like, okay, let's figure some stuff out. And then I realized, maybe I want to bring some other people in on this journey. And that's when I started TikTok. So about 1 year ago, I started TikTok. And I don't know, I didn't know what I wanted out of it. I just knew I kind of wanted other people in on the journey. And then it started developing into something where I started sharing my heart, my story, my opinion. And I realized I made a lot of friends through that process. So
kind of going back to the male loneliness piece of this, like, where do you think where do you think the gap can be bridged and like how it can be bridged? Because we're seeing, this is a common thing nowadays. Everyone seems to want love, but no one can seem to find it. And it's like playing a giant game of Where's Waldo in the world of like, where the fuck is my husband? Like, so where do you think men and women can start to bridge that gap in dating, for one? And secondly, like, where do you think, maybe men are failing women, but maybe where women are failing men? Because like, I think patriarchy hurts everybody, but I'm sure there is a piece of accountability for women in this conversation.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways I can take this and go a couple different directions, but I'm going to try to speak to the men first and say, to start, you have to start being open with other men. Like, I think when our biggest gap in society is men loving other men and that being normal. And like women do this so well. Women love other women. They communicate openly. They tell them about their feelings, about their day, about who they like and what's happening.
My female friendships absolutely saved my life. Like they are the reasons, like finding true and good girlfriends, like finding friendships in general was always a struggle for me. But like once I became my authentic self and found friends who truly loved me and saw me for that version, like it has tremendously risen my standards for everything else in my life and like allowed me to have the confidence to no longer be a people pleaser and no longer like let people disrespect my boundaries. Like female friendships have absolutely saved my life and they are truly so special. And I think friendship in general.
And men don't have that.
Men don't have that. I hear that from my guy friends all the time. And I'm like, so work on it. No, but they're too afraid.
Yes, they have golfing buddies, they have drinking buddies, they have football buddies, they have these buddies in their workplace. But all these relationships stay right there. They never progress because no one's breaking ice and saying like, hey, like I have to be intentional to do this as well. Like everyone has to be intentional. Just yesterday, I was sitting with a guy at work. Fire department culture is a little bit different because we are definitely a lot closer to each other than most people.
I feel like I'm probably someone who can relate to that, like living on a tour bus with people. It's like very...
same thing.
Same thing.
Very in your face, like you are building family at that point. But regardless, it's an intentional act. So yesterday, something was really bothering me. We were sitting on the couch and I could have just not said anything and just let the moment go. But instead, I was like, hey, man, you know that thing that I kind of alluded to yesterday? Like, that's really bothering me. And like, I think I need to talk about it. And he was so involved in that conversation. He was present in that conversation. And it was a beautiful moment. It lasted about 5 minutes. And then we moved forward. And I just think that conversation is not happening in male spheres. And we are seeing that play out through men just not getting into relationships in general and not diving into relationships in general in a good, healthy way because it's not starting there.
Right.
So yeah, I would say to the men, you have to talk to other men and you have to be involved in those relationships and be open with loving someone that's the same sex as you. It's not weird and it's not gay. If it is gay, like that's great. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, trust me, I get it.
Weird.
Like they make it so weird. They're like, no, that like, I want to hug him. That's gay. Like, no, it's not. Like it's what?
You look at men from other countries who aren't, so weird about sex and gender roles. And like when I was in India, for instance, you see men walking on the street holding the hand of another man. It's not weird. It's like, that's their brother, that's their friend, that's their family. And like, we make it so weird here to like give a dude a hug. And it's like, okay.
I know, for the land of the free, we got a lot of rules.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like don't do this. Don't do that. You have to live like this. You have to dress like this in order to be straight or to be this way or to be seen as a respectable man. And it's like, no, let's rewrite some stuff. So that's to the men. To the women, I think there's two things. One, encourage that. Encourage your guy to go make guy relationships. Like, and I'm not talking about like, oh, I hope you go play some golf with the dudes today. I'm like, no, be someone that challenges them and says, hey, like, you should go hang out with so-and-so. Like, you should go make more friends. You should go dive into that relationship more. Hey, you were telling me the other day that so-and-so is going through a divorce. Like, you should go hang out with him. Like, stuff like that. But then on the flip side, I think that it's just creating, under the same umbrella, it's creating a safe place. It's creating a place where your man, I know this is going to sound bad, but can come home and be open and express and kind of be childlike. I think that there's a childlikeness that is beautiful in relationships. And when someone has to be rigid and they can't express themselves to you, they're going to eventually just find other places to do it. So,
yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think this kind of leads into a conversation too of like, well, what even is masculinity nowadays? Because I think the definition of masculinity and true masculinity and modern masculinity has changed. And like what it was 50 years ago is not what a woman wants today. And like, I even just speaking for myself, like to me, a masculine man isn't just somebody who's like 6'5" with fucking muscles and can, build me a house. It's like masculinity to me is being in touch with your emotions. Like, I think it's human. I think it
But if you also had that, that'd be great, right?
I mean, like, wouldn't hurt. Maybe some tattoos, like help a girl out. Actually, I do love me a short king, I will say. Height isn't a thing. I love me a short king. I love the short kings.
That's amazing.
For me, I think the hottest thing a man can do is be in touch with his emotions. Like, that is to me sexy.
Absolutely.
A man being in touch with his
100%.
emotions. Like the new Sabrina Carpenter song, Tears. Hell yeah, brother.
I need to listen to it. I don't know it. But no, I think it is.
That's your homework.
It's both and. Okay, that's my homework. I'll go listen to it. That's the both and. Like, I think a lot of men are thinking money, like it's still the same standards. It's money, it's gym, it's tattoos, it's like all these things. And what's changing and what's happening is these women are like, I mean, yeah, that's cool. But like, I'm going to go for this guy because he's like available. And he's willing to like sit with my grief or my sadness or my joy, or like he's willing to dance it off.
I want someone who's going to get excited with me. Like, I want someone who's going to like, I don't care if you don't give two shits about my photography and like the camera settings, but like if you're just going to I get so, again, I'm a very big emotional person. I get excited about dumb shit and I can go on a tangent for 20 minutes. Like, if you will sit there and listen to me for 20 minutes, fuck, I'll be on my knees. I don't care. It's just, I want a partner who can get excited with me, who can get emotional with me. And like, same thing. I don't give two shits about golf, but if golf is really your passion, like I'll listen. I'll go do golf with you. I'll play. I'll bring a book on the cart. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think a lot of people too, with the individualism, it's like we're too resistant to doing things we don't want to do. And it's like sometimes when you love somebody, you just do the hobby that they love because you love them. Yeah. I don't know. That's a very nuanced thing, but
it's very nuanced. And I think that something that I wanted to pick through this is something that I'm trying to navigate is the balance of main character energy. And I think that everyone is trying to preach a message of like, I am the important one. Like I'm this guy. Everyone else is here. I think the fall of that is that you don't allow yourself to be selfless anymore, to go serve other people for the sake of serving them, for the sake of loving them, for the sake of just not being the main character for a little while. And I think that if you constantly position yourself to say, like, I am the most important person in this relationship, then I do think that you lose the acts of service side of relationships, and that keeps things alive, keeps things healthy, keeps things spicy, keeps things going, right? Like, we have to be a little selfless in our relationships.
Right. Like, this is kind of what I was talking about before with like the empathy and individualistic thing. Like, we want to romanticize our lives. Yes. We want to put ourselves out there, be carefree and be like you said, the main character energy. But over time, I feel like it's made us lose our ability to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Like, you always heard that saying growing up, right? Of, well, if I were in their shoes or put myself in their shoes, like, how would you feel? And I think people have lost the ability to truly just do that, is wear somebody else's shoes for a day and see things from their point of view. And we have lost that ability to be empathetic towards others. And everything has become so black and white. There's no room for nuance anymore. And this comes down to relationships too. Like, you see that a lot in dating, the if he wanted to, he would mindset, or like, if my man doesn't do X, Y, and Z, he doesn't love me. It's like, well, no, maybe that's just not how he was shown to show love. Or like, maybe his ex-girlfriend hated that. Like, you don't know. And I think a lot of people nowadays too, they want a wedding, they want a ring, but they're not actually ready for a marriage, and they don't know what that means. And that's both
sides. Don't even get me started on that one.
Please get started on it. Like, it's.
I think that so many people just love the idea of a wedding, and we are seeing so many divorces because I think that someone just really wants a wedding. And on top of that, people are capitalizing on that desire and raising wedding prices out of the freaking wazoo. And now people are going to debt just to have some special day that they really actually don't want, but they think that they want because it's on Pinterest
And then
or
they
Instagram
get,
or
and then they
whatever.
get there half the time and they're like, fuck, I really don't want to marry this person. They're having like, they're like, oh my God. Like my biggest nightmare is if I am walking down that aisle, I'm in this beautiful dress and everybody in my life whose opinions I value is pitying me. That is nightmare fuel. Like imagining walking down the aisle to somebody and my entire family is like, yep, counting down, like has a betting pool on when we're going to get divorced. Like that is a real thing. And that is my biggest fear.
That's a real thing.
And people don't understand that whoever you end up with is not just, yes, it's who you're spending your life with, but like it is a financial decision. It is who is going to potentially be the parent to your children. Like it is probably one of the most important decisions you make in your life. And people make it far too easily because again, yes, this Disney lied to us. The rom-coms of the 2000s lied to us. Like I've done episodes dissecting all of that, but
we do love them. I mean, we love them.
I still, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Failure to Launch, some of my favorites. But now that I'm older, I can be like, yeah, this isn't real. Like it's supposed to be fictional. It's supposed to be fun and like lighthearted, but you know, recognize, hey, that's not realistic. Half those relationships still definitely ended after the end credits rolled. I know we didn't get too much into your mental health, so definitely want to touch on that as well. Kind of, you know, we literally said we were gonna do this episode about Suicide Prevention Month. We didn't really talk about much. So we're gonna go into it now. But I know for me, my mental health has very much impacted my love life. And so this is a good segue. I think healing isn't just, and mental health isn't just about thinking, okay, you're never going to have a hard day again in your life. But it's about, you know, learning the lessons and understanding like, okay, for that next hard day, here's what I'll do differently. Here's how I can handle it better. Here's how I can bounce back quicker. And like, that's what healing is. And, you know, I don't know for your mental health journey, like what do you think are some things that have made a difference for you and like have taught you along the way?
Oh, my mental health. This is definitely a hard conversation. Not because I don't like talking about it, but it's because it's been a hard journey. Mm-hmm. And I think more than my difficulty in relationships with others, my relationship with self has become the most challenging relationship of all. Mm-hmm. And the ability to like be settled in my brain and not hate who I am it is the greatest challenge of my life. And I don't know why this happened. I don't know why I am the way that I am. I don't know where it went wrong. I mean, but I do know that whatever bug it is in the air got into me. And I've struggled through that for most of my life. I remember as a teenager, I really, really wanted to attempt, and I couldn't get myself to at the time. And I'm just obviously like so grateful, but mm-hmm. It was the only thing I thought about. It was the only thing that I wanted. Yeah. Turns out, a decade of that struggle through my teens and 20s, and I found it. What it was. It wasn't. And I still struggle. And I'm not saying that I fixed it. I'm just saying I found what I was looking for and why I wanted to end it so bad. And it's that I wanted to feel important. Mm-hmm. I just wanted someone to come and say that, like, I see you, I value you, I need you here. Like, I love you, right? I just wanted that so fucking bad, and no one was doing it. And so I thought the only way to like get people's attention was to have my life end. And then hopefully I was just so curious of like, who would even show up? Who would show up? Would anyone do it? And I just it's almost like I wanted validation that like ultimately I would never get. Yeah. Because I was the one that chose that. You're literally hearing being emotional. It has been a terrible ride. Mm-hmm. But it's one that I can't get off of now. And I thought I could. I thought that I was going to. I still don't know if I'll make it until the end of my like organic life sometimes. Mm-hmm. I still think like maybe I'll do something dumb one day. But I know right now I have a lot that I'm fighting for. And I have a lot worth living for. And I'm really thankful for everything that I've found along the way. But I've realized when I can answer that question that I looked at earlier of like, am I important? Am I valuable? And do people love me? When I nail those down, I've realized that like, I don't need to leave this earth as bad anymore.
Yeah.
Because the answer to all three of those is yes. And the answer to all three of those for every single person on the planet is yes. And I don't think people are being told those three things enough. And therefore, we're all struggling. So that's a little bit of my journey, my story.
No, I relate to that a lot. That's why I'm like tearing up, because I'm like, I've never heard somebody else put it that way, because like that's exactly how I felt. Because from the time I was 14, Rocco, please. My dog gets like very clingy when I cry. Because for me, from the time I was 14 to the time I was 17, I used to hurt myself. And, it used to be my wrists, and then it was my hips and thigh. And over the years, I learned to hide it better. And when people ask me, because I don't talk about that part of my life very often anymore, because it's a part, one, that I've largely forgotten about because of the happiness I found, but also it's a part I am very ashamed of. And there is a shame about it. And when I do talk to people about it, they're like, you know what? They can't understand the mindset. And so for me, at first it was a distraction from the pain that I was feeling. It was something I was able, as sick as this sounds, I was able to watch my part of me heal. And that made me feel better in a weird way. And then eventually I just became so numb that it was a way to feel anything. And I remember it would be in the shower with a razor, or late at night with scissors. Like, and I know that's very graphic and maybe like too much, but I'm very thankful that it never went further than that, even though I thought about it. And, now but the thing is, and the thing that is the saddest of all, is nobody would have ever known. And when I talk to people from high school in my past, or even in college years in my 20s, like when I tell them all these things and I open up about my traumas, every single time without fail, the reaction is always, I would have never known this about you because of how happy and joyful you are. And my happiness and joy used to be, again, a cover. It used to be a mask. And now it's, like I said, I have more of an appreciation, and I feel happiness deeper now because I know how good life is and how bad it can get. And I think part of healing, and you probably struggle with this too, is like when you do find that happiness, it's almost more unnerving than when you get back into those bad mindsets, or you have those anxiety attacks and those panic attacks. And it almost is, everything is magnified because you're like, no, I thought I got over this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, first, I'm sorry. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It is so difficult to get through it. But I'm glad that you did, or are. You are getting through it.
And I'm glad you are.
And I am too. And I think that the important message here is not like, I hope I don't go through that again. It's the messaging of, I've become resilient because I've gone through that. And now I know that it's not the ultimate end of my story. And like, I struggle a lot because I paint myself online as someone that's like telling people, hey, don't give up, don't quit, don't do it, right? And I really, really struggle still. There's a lot of days I do. And I feel like an imposter. I feel like a coward. I feel like a hypocrite. But I realize that I'm living my message. And when I reframe it and I say like, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like I'm working. I'm like doing the right things. Like all of a sudden my life changes. When you go through the hardship again, when your mental health battle gets difficult, again. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, I thought I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you just become stronger over time as you keep fighting. And that's what, at least that's what I'm selling myself, so that hopefully I can get through it.
You're going to gaslight yourself.
I'm gaslighting myself through it, because like, if I don't, I'm going to give up. And like, that's not, obviously that's not the answer I want. And so like, I know I have more to live for. So I don't know. I think, okay, let me say this. The moment I started realizing I can help people, I do think I started giving myself purpose again for, I need to get through this. I need to be an example. I need to help people. And so going online and talking about it feels silly sometimes, until I realize that like it gives me purpose to keep going a little bit. And in turn, maybe it's making me stronger. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I really relate to that mindset, because like, I remember I was having a really bad mental health like situation towards the end of last year. And I remember crying to one of my friends and just being like, I'm just so tired of going through things. That's what I said to him. I was like, I am just so tired of going through things. Like, when is it going to end? When is it going to stop? Like, I don't want to keep going through things. And I kind of put myself back into this victim complex of like, poor me, why me, why me? And when I came out of it, I just kind of realized like life's never going to stop. I'm going to keep going through shit. Life is never going to stop. And unfortunately, there are people in life who aren't going to go through as much as I have. And you know what? Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. But but it's like that's just their path and this is mine. And I think I've seen how resilient I can be. And you know, the whole message behind this podcast was like, I started it out of a place of needing to heal and vent and just therapeutic for me. And I always said, if it helps one other person, then so be it. I don't care if one person listens. If that one person hears something that can help them, great. You know, and I love this little community that I've built, and it's crazy to see like all the versions of myself that I've lived, and I'm sure you feel like that too in your healing of like looking back on those past versions, you're like, I don't even know that person. Like I did a whole episode, I think it was earlier this year, where like I read some passages from my old high school journal, and like I was like, I feel so sad for this girl. Like I don't recognize her. Like who is she? She was so fucking dramatic. Oh my God. But like two, like the things I wrote and felt about myself, I'm just like, someone needed to hug her and like tell her she was loved.
Straight up.
But the thing is too, I was hugged. I had a lot of love growing up. Like my mom is the reason I'm so emotional. That woman, like we are huggers in our family. Oh my God. Like everyone meets my mom and their immediate reaction is, yeah, that makes sense. But like I was hugged a lot and I was always told it's going to be okay. But it was different because I didn't feel understood and seen. I felt like it's just that's what you're just told by adults. You know, you're just told it's going to get better. You're just told like things get better and it's all going to be okay. And like you don't believe it because you don't feel heard and validated. And I think that's where a lot of people, and I want your thoughts on this too, like of where people maybe go wrong in trying to support a loved one who is struggling with depression and suicide and all these things is like, of course you want to tell them it's going to be okay, but like in a weird way, sometimes that's almost invalidating of the thoughts and feelings and emotions that they're currently dealing with.
Okay, so there's something that I did learn within my ministry experience that's still carrying forward today, and it's on this topic. The power of the testimony is not recognized enough. And what I mean by that is that if you know someone's struggling, you don't just give them encouraging words of like, hey, it's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be okay. Like, you got this. Like, yes, that's important, but like, no one really understands the power that it has when you sit with someone and they go, hey, actually, me too. And like, this isn't about the Me Too movement, but this is about like, hey, like, I'm not saying that because I'm just like, happy-go-lucky about life. I'm saying that because I was in your shoes. Like, I understand you. And like, here's a little bit of my story and what's happened and how I got through it and how I got there and like all these things. And I know when I hear that from someone, I'm just like, whoa. One, I didn't know. So two, I respect you. And three, I needed that. And so I think what that boils down to is, as adults, we are the next generation of adults, which I can't wrap my head around that. I'm like, oh, we're we're not ready for that level of responsibility.
I'm still a teenager. What do you mean?
In my brain, I am a young individual, but I'm not. I'm old.
Well, yours isn't. Your frontal lobe's not developed yet. You're not 30 yet, so.
No, it develops at what, 25 or something?
No, not for men. For women, it does, but not for men. Okay, so frontal typically reach full development in men around the age of 25. However, this process can vary depending on individual factors and environmental influences. Some studies suggest that frontal lobes may continue to mature into the early 30s.
You know what? That's good news. Because I'm going to keep getting smarter. You know, if we are the next generation of adults that is going to take care of the young people of the world, I think the base level foundation that we all need to adapt into our lifestyle is just honesty. It's something that I don't know about you, but I feel like my parents and my parents' generation that I witnessed growing up just weren't very honest with kids. I feel like they were very protective in like what they thought was a good way, but it ended up being pretty harmful. Of like, we're not going to tell you about the hard things. We're not going to tell you about the stuff going on in our life, in our marriage, in our finances. We're going to like hide some of this stuff from you. And so I think that for us looking forward, it's like, you know, don't just overly expose your kid because of like, I don't know, because you just want them to be tough, but like expose them properly to honesty, to realness, to like hard conversations, to emotions, like expose them properly. And I think that we're going to witness kids respecting their parents more. And so I think when adults are not honest with kids read through that and they're just like, hey man, like you could have just told me that you were struggling, or you could have just told me that we were struggling as a family. And like, that would have been cool. And like, I would have understood, but instead we just kept up with the Joneses. And like, I just don't know. I don't know. So.
And it's not even just honesty, like honesty, yes, but vulnerability. Like again, parents, like kids being able to see their parents being vulnerable and being emotional too is so important. And like you said, like the honesty piece, like I love my mother to death, but there's still times like she'll lie to try and protect me. And I'm like, I'm a 26-year-old adult woman. I can know about the family skeletons in the closet. And like a big piece of my healing journey and like my fucked upness is like reconciling that like a lot of my childhood was a little bit of a lie because my parents weren't happy. And my dad, you know, he was doing the things that he was doing. And that's not my story to share. But it's going to be hard at any age, yes. But like, I think there are definitely ways in which it could have been made easier on me. Sometimes it's really exhausting being the person in the family who's like breaking all the generational curses. And I think that's why, tell me if you think this too, like maybe why there is such a big mental health crisis now is not just because, yes, like mental health is normalized and we're able to talk about it, because I think a lot of our generation are the ones who are breaking these curses and doing the work to not repeat the same mistakes and patterns. And it is a very overwhelming task, and it can be a very isolating task as well.
Okay, let me credit our parents' generation for a second, just for a second. I say this because they did something that was very difficult, and it's they experienced a level of hardship from their parents' generation that I don't think many people understand, especially through the Great Depression, through like some of those years where there was no room for emotional availability. It was survival of the fittest, and it was like we are literally going to just work and survive. That was the path for these families. And so our parents recognize like that generational trauma, and some did well and some didn't. But I think as a whole across the board, what they did is kind of find a middle ground of, we're not just going to survive. Some families did well and learned how to like thrive and start bringing emotions out and start bringing like their kids into like different things, you know, activities and whatnot. But the other side of it is a lot of them were still just like, at least I'm putting food on the table. At least I'm, at least
you've got a roof over your head. Yeah, you're fine.
Financially, like, I'm just showing up, and like, you should be happy. So, and I am happy. I am happy for that. But now we have the additional responsibility of saying, okay, now we're going to take it a step further. And now we are going to do the emotional work to like let our kids grow up in a emotionally safe household and, all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of credit there, but it's passing the baton and saying we're taking up that slack and maybe a little more. Because I think our generation is just sometimes overachievers in that way too. So the reason I'm sharing this perspective is because I had a very tough conversation with my father this year where I was just like, why? Why didn't you create the space that I needed? And he was just like, I didn't know how. He's like, all I knew from growing up was just survive. Mm-hmm. And I thought I did a good job by creating an environment where you didn't have to think like that.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, I'm thankful for that, but I needed you to be there emotionally. And he was like, I'm sorry, I just didn't know. Like I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know, and I was just like, it wasn't his fault. It is, but it's not. And now I just have to pick up that slack and learn how to walk.
I mean, I literally had that same conversation in the letter with my dad. And this is because I had said, like, I'm not your therapist, I'm your kid. So he said to me, I'm not asking you to be my therapist, but this next section is just so you hopefully start to know me better. Because I said too, I was like, we don't know each other. Like, you don't know me, I don't know you. Like, we actually don't know each other at all. And he goes, I am the great pretender. I pretend to be tough, mean, protective, strong, unfeeling, vindictive, and all the things a man is supposed to be in the world I was raised in. The examples I lived under with the father and numerous stepfathers I had as examples, but the reality is I'm still the terrified little boy hiding under a bathroom sink cabinet trying to escape a beating. Thanks be to God, you never had that from me, but I beat you with my words and I am so sorry. So I try and struggle to find validation. With every success I have had, I find a way to sabotage myself, usually subconsciously, but consciously as well, thinking I do not deserve this. And again, through my words and actions, I derail everything. I push people away. I retreat under my sink. I hide and shake in fear. And then I get angry and lash out. The reality is I did not know myself. And then he talks about this men's group he's in. He said, I see all my failings and I wonder why I could not have been in this when I was a young man. And he just goes on and he's like, I do want a relationship with you. And, he actually thanked me for calling him out and holding him accountable. And, he was like, I want you to know I took this to heart. And he was like, I understand why you're angry and hurt and I'm sorry. And I got lost and all of those things. But this is why I say, like, I feel like my dad is almost a cautionary tale for a lot of men because he is somebody who came from poverty, came from violence and abusive childhood. And he rose up in the world he was in the military and then he became the CISO for a Fortune 500 company. And he achieved that American dream that we all so claim to want. And yet, because he didn't know himself and wasn't willing to know himself and face his demons and face his emotions and just learn who he is, he lost everything. And he lost himself and he never found himself. And that's why I say, like, I will never forget the stories my dad has told me about his mental health. I know he too has depression and definitely has complex PTSD. And I know he was suicidal at one point. And this is what I said to him. And I say it to everybody is like, you can empathize and I do empathize. And I have such sorrow for the things he dealt with. But like, again, at what point are you going to take responsibility and be like, it's not my fault what happened to me, but it is my fault the way I treat and harm the ones that I claim to love. But all that to say, like, kind of summing up the conversation with men and men's mental health is like, yes, you are not responsible for the things that are done to you, but at a certain point, you have to take responsibility for the ways in which you show up.
I think first and foremost, encouraging people and maybe even gaslighting them into thinking like, hey, you need to stay. Like, there's better things ahead. Like, right? Like, please stay.
Yeah.
But once you have them there, then it's working on like building their motivation for wanting to stay, encouraging them, building that foundation for like, hey, here's why this is important. Here's why this matters. Here's everything else. But like, first, just don't do it, right? Like, just stay. But being here in September and like seeing all these posts and seeing the grief recycle for a lot of people because of a loved one, a family member, a friend, it reminds me a lot of like, why did I want to do that so bad? Why do I want to do that so bad some days? And I think it's just that I forget those big three, that I'm seen, I'm heard, and I'm valued exactly as I am. And I'm not a project. I'm not for someone to be coming in and fixing me. Like, I think that's ultimately why I needed to, well, I don't know. I think that my message to everyone is that, like, if you can find people that you feel seen, heard, and valued by, everything changes.
The relationship that we have with ourselves is like the most important one we're ever going to have, right? Like, you have to be the love of your life first. And I said this in an episode a couple weeks ago, how like you know, we all want to be seen and known by other people, but at the end of the day, the person who's going should and is going to know you best is you. Like, new friends, you're going to be filling them in on the past versions of yourself and your past chapters, and old friends, they don't get to see the new version of you that's healed and thriving. So it's like you're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. And I wasted so much time hating myself, but I can't even call it a waste because of how much I love myself now. And, that's kind of one of the biggest things I've learned about myself and my mental health is you can't hate yourself into a new life, and you can't hate yourself into loving yourself. You can't hate yourself into anything. Hatred and anger is probably one of the worst motivating emotions we can operate off of.
As much as you want to be seen, heard, and valued by other people, doing that for yourself is going to be your greatest work of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing who you are, hearing what you need, and valuing the person that you see in the mirror is so difficult. But as much as we need it from other people, you're right. We absolutely need it from ourselves. And I completely missed that message. And I'm so glad you brought that up because it is the message. It is the message, is hearing, seeing, valuing the person in the mirror, and everything else slowly builds around that.
Of all the past versions of Jacob that have existed, what do you think is a lesson that you've learned from all those past versions that has made you the man you are? And what message do you want people to leave this episode with?
Your desire to be in a safe relationship and to be with safe people is a pursuit worth having. And safety is, I think, going to be the thing that changes your life entirely. Mm-hmm. Learning how to be safe with your thoughts, learning how to be safe with other people, and learning how to have that relationship in a healthy way is I think the ultimate prize in life. And I don't want people to hear that I'm advocating for, a relationship, love, the typical, it's bigger than that. It's more than that. It's learning how to be in a safe relationship with people, with friends, mm-hmm. with coworkers, with family, with spouses, with everyone in that whole sphere. If you can learn that, I think you win. We all fantasize about this life that's like lonely in the mountains, right? And I've been there. But like, it sounds nice because you don't have to deal with stuff. But dealing with stuff is life. And so doing that with people will change everything in a good way.
I'm racking up because, no, it's funny you say that because like, that's what my dad told us when he left, is he just wants to go be alone. And he literally moved to the mountains of New York. And like, now he complains about being lonely. I'm like, you left us. You left.
Men are the worst about this. We all have this like, I'm going to go and just die in the mountains alone and it'll be peaceful. And I'm like, I know we're in a loneliness epidemic.
Mm-hmm. It's not even just it is a loneliness epidemic. It's not even just male loneliness.
And like, we hear this all the time coming from 20-somethings who leave college, which is a community-centered, community-focused environment. and they leave, and then they go to the workforce and they have these crash outs because they're like, what is my life? Why do I have no friends?
How can I make friends?
And then it carries in, and then the people solve it by getting married and having children because they're like, well, at least now I have built-in community. But then they realize that didn't fix it. That just scratched it. And like fixing it means that you put in the effort to go get involved in community, involved in spaces and places where there's other humans there.
School, college, all these things, like, even in the clubs we were put in growing up, like they were always all friendships of convenience. And as we get older and those friendships grow apart, you realize like you are very different people. And that's not a bad thing. But I think our adulthood in our 20s is the first time we're really able to make friends purely out of commonality versus just like convenience. And that's why I think people struggle is they don't know how to do that. And that's why we end up with drinking friends and golfing buddies and all of these things because we don't know how to form those deeper, vulnerable connections. Instead, it's just like, oh, we both like golf.
Also, I want to jump in on this and say one more thing. Diversify your friend groups. Diversify your life. It will make your life better. It will make everything more important because you're going to get people from new worlds and new perspectives and different backgrounds and different family, different skin tone, different ethnicities, different religions. Mm-hmm. And when you blend all of them together, you create something that like one-sided, one-dimensional friendships never could have. I'm very passionate on that topic, and I think that you saw that.
Before I let you go, where can people find you on social media?
Don't find me. I'm not worth. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to be involved in this journey, I'm on TikTok. I'll be probably linked into this. But yeah, Jacob N0618. I don't know why I picked that nickname or that type, whatever. You get it. Instagram, Jakey Films. That's more like professional page. That's like, photography, videography. But I also still show my face and do some stuff there. So, I think that's about it. Probably not going to give you my phone number, but
I have his phone number. I'll give it to you guys.
She'll post it. Linked here.
I'm going to dox his phone number.
Don't link it here, okay? No, and then obviously if you're in Arkansas, come on by. Let's hang out.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. Yeah, please follow him. DM me if you want his phone number. I will happily give it to you.
Single but not really. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. If you piss me off, I might sign you up for some like Trump shit. I don't fucking know. Don't piss me off. Kidding.
Try not to.
But that is all for this week's episode of Not the Girl Next Door. If you don't already follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just search Not the Girl Next Door podcast. Will pop up. My TikTok is still my personal handle because I'm too lazy to run 2 accounts. But make sure you leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. Subscribe to the YouTube. Help us grow there.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Okay. Weirdo. And yeah, you may want to follow us on social media because I am planning something very exciting for the 4-year anniversary in November. So you might want to be in tune for that. But that is all. And I will see you guys next week for another episode.